Hey, everybody, off the top rope here, off the Mike Sports Network. So another L for one Trevor Mann, better known as Ricochet. Um, I saw this get tweeted around. I missed it obviously live. It's been now deleted, but I never thought that a grown man in his 30s could get buried by a 20-year-old. But that's what happened. Javon Evans just body bagged Ricochet on Twitter. And some people who are AEW tribalists are going to say, well, Javon worked himself into a shoot. Okay. Ricochet's heel character is admittedly somewhat entertaining, but it's not really, it's basically him being a troll on Twitter. And then he just is kind of a troll, on television and just, it's kind of connecting. I guess he's kind of showing some personality. But just because you're a jackass on a Twitter doesn't mean that you're like people believe that maybe you just are a jackass. And I've talked about this on this channel. But anyway, so Javon Evans' name was brought up, basically saying that he was a young prospect by some guy on Twitter. Ricochet said he'd squash him. And then so Javon comes back, and this is all over the internet. People, I love screen captures, just anything that goes on social media, even if you delete it. And I don't know why it got deleted. Maybe it was WWE you got in. Some people were joking Jay Malachi, which is Javon Evans, indie name, and I think it's his real name. But basically, so Javon Evans, in response to Ricochet saying he'd squash him, said, "My bad. I just got done trading at the Performance Center under Shawn Michaels, something that you don't have or do. But I bet your brown egghead ass would squash me if Tony told you to. Much love, OG." And then Ricochet comes back and says, "Brother, I was learning from Shawn Michaels when you were like 12. Then went on to become multiple time champion. Let me know when you win one, little boy. And yeah, if Tony asked me, I definitely beat you. Aha! I guess I beat your ass, or I don't know what. Sometimes I can't decipher Twitter language here, but that's an interesting response from a grown man who just got married. And then Javon comes back. You learned from HBK when I was 12 and became a multi-time world champion. Now you're wrestling in front of 20,000. You're wrestling in front of 2,000 people every week for a crackhead. Talk about an upgrade, am I right? Oh, Javon Evans might have just become my favorite wrestler ever. I love this kid so much. And even if it was a work shoot or whatever, like this is funny. And then basically he comes back later and says, "Sounds like Mr. Khan isn't giving you enough attention. So you had to come from a successful ass youngin. You're giving me the most views on my post, and I'm finally helping you get the most attention you've ever had in your career. All love." That all got deleted. People are saying Javon got worked into a shoot. No, that's not what happened here. Ricochet tried to be a tough guy on Twitter and take shots because I guess it's his character. Yeah, it's his character to take shots at people at the other place in the developmental place that he, by the way, was a North American champion at one point. I think he was a tag team champion too. I can't remember, and he's been a multiple time champion. Guess what, Ricochet? In about a year's time, Javon Evans is going to be a champion in NXT. He might be the one to beat Obafemi. And he's got a lot longer than you do, man. So take the L again. And my advice to people who are saying, man, they got to get the NXT people off of Twitter. What the fuck was Javon Evans supposed to do? Well, what the fuck was he supposed to do? Is he supposed to just sit back there and take it saying, yeah, I would squash this guy. When, he left, he's now in a better place. He's one of the hot young prospects at 20 years of age, has main evented 2 NXT Premium Live events in his first year full time in WWE. Meanwhile, Ricochet had to turn heel almost on arrival. It's kind of worked out for him, but this whole bit, this isn't a character. Kayfabe is a myth. Kayfabe is a myth. You can't tell me. That is just being a jackass on Twitter. And this is the same guy who was taking shots, saying that he was miserable in WWE, and that's not character. That's a real man. That's Trevor. So Ricochet needs to shut the hell up. You are married to a beautiful woman. You are getting paid a lot of money by AEW. Shut the fuck up. Focus on trying to make AEW better rather than poking the bear at some NXT guy who who then came back at you and completely and utterly eviscerated you on Twitter. Completely and utterly eviscerated you. Also, Tony Khan did not look good in that at all. Getting called a crackhead, and I know some people are going to get offended by that, but listen, the guy's a kid, man. The guy's a kid. He's not even old enough to drink yet. Chill the fuck out on Javon Evans. If anybody looks bad in this whole situation, it's Ricochet. You're a grown man in your 30s. What the fuck do you want? What the fuck do you want with a guy who's not on the same roster as you, is in developmental in NXT, and may very well have a better career than you ever had in WWE? So much so, you didn't fit in with the product. You said it ruined your love of wrestling. You went to the other place, took a big fat paycheck, and now you are basically ball washing Tony Khan because he's the only one who believes in you anymore. I still think Ricochet is a fabulous wrestler. He has no personality whatsoever. This is a phony, fake-ass personality. He's trying to show that he's a tough guy. And this is the latest example of just AEW people need to shut the fuck up and not engage with WWE shit. Focus on your product. You are Ricochet, you're losing to Javon Evans. Javon Evans, who's like 10, 15 years younger than you, is beating you on a week-to-week basis and is way more entertaining than you. He's 20 years old and he does crazy shit. I understand Ricochet's been doing it for a long time, but there's a reason why WWE moved off of him. He didn't have a personality. And it's great that he's showing some of it on AEW television, but it's because of this. If anybody's working themselves into a shoot, it's him. He's trying to come up with, stuff. So he has to resort to engaging with fans. He has to resort engaging with people who are saying, yeah, Javon Evans is the great. And some random guy on Twitter says, yeah, Javon Evans is the hot young prospect. He says, yeah, I'm going to squash him. What, Javon Evans is? I mean, I understand that there's a WWE, but like, he's 20 years old, everybody. 20. He's already wrestled Randy Orton. Okay? Ricochet wasn't doing that until like the end of his 20s when he got into WWE. So it's just, he took another L, man. Like, even if this character is probably the best version that he's had of himself, it's still not great. Nobody cares. Now he's with the Young Bucks. They're just going to get a bunch of heat with each other. He uses the Young Bucks' hair to simulate that he actually has hair, even though the biggest joke of the whole thing is that he's bald, so he gets smacked on the back of the head because he needs to be reminded by everybody that he is, in fact, bald and has no hair. Gee, that's a great gimmick to have. Shout out to the young OG, by the way, man. I haven't given him enough love on this channel. Twitter war aside, the kid is unbelievable. And again, going to be about 21. He might be 21, but I know he's been 20 for most of the year. He's just unbelievably talented. And you just, even with his promos, even if they're not really like they sound authentic. He's a legitimately young, excitable kid who does a lot of crazy shit in the ring. As he says, he gets bouncy. So, no, he got bouncy on Ricochet here, and he clowned him and put him in a body bag. So again, Ricochet, don't bite off more you can chew, buddy. Focus on AEW. Stop engaging with the fans. Stop being an idiot and try to make that company better rather than engaging with the other guy who's literally like a decade younger than you and is already doing probably better than you were. Because at some point during this year, he is going to be a champion. Mark my words. It's happening. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon.